Welcome to Disability Focus, an inclusive disability radio station for people that have disabilities.
The purpose of the show is to raise awareness, to be heard, to be a positive voice for disability, to dispel myths and to share information, but most of all to provide entertainment for all.
Coming up in this episode, we will be focusing on customer service.
We'll be speaking to Emma Donnell, Customer Service Manager at Story House in Chester. We will also be hearing from the local service users who talk of their own experiences on customer service and have some top tips to share with you at the end of the show. We're also going to be playing music from some bands whose members have a disability. Earlier on we spoke to Emma, who is the Customer Services Manager at Story House in Chester. She told us a bit about how Story House helps people with learning disabilities and also about how they train staff to deal with feedback.
I think now that the building is new to every single person that comes in the door, so we've kind of got a lot of staff and a lot of volunteers who are available to help anyone, not just people with disabilities currently. So we really examples every day when people need to find books and when people need to go to the theatre or for example booking tickets in our theatre part of Story House. We've got access on every level for wheelchair users, so all of the staff are really clued up on that and they know all about that. So when people do come in to book tickets, there's a ticket and assistance point where people can come to. They find out about those seats, they sign up on our access register. So every day we're trying to make people have the best experience that they can do. We do try and include disability awareness in a lot of our training, and we've got a schools and communities manager who helps us implement all of that, and we try and get as many of the community groups and people into the building to use it where possible. It's really for people about interacting. Our staff interact a lot with people when they come into the building, so we really want people to learn on the job and find out personal needs. So we do a lot of broad generic training, and we'll have we've got autism friendly screenings, we've got dementia awareness training and dementia friendly screenings also. We'll have a whole range of different relaxed performances and things that we do in the theatre and in the cinema. But what's more important, equally as important to us, is that we let people have those personal conversations with everyone and try and have an experience for everyone that suits everyone's individual needs when they come to the theatre and the cinema. It's always incredibly important to firstly listen to someone when they have the feedback, because it's really important to take it on board, because quite often it's useful in making things better and letting people have a better experience. So always listen, always smile and always be polite to someone. It's also really important to address that you are taking on that feedback and tell them what you're going to do with the feedback and not make them feel like they're just telling it to you for no reason. So make the person feel really valued, make them feel empowered and make them feel like their opinion is valued, which is. You find that negative feedback is probably the most common type of feedback that you get. People are always quick to voice their opinions and come to you when there's a problem, and it's not often you actually get positive feedback. So I'm quite used to getting negative feedback. I think time is the most important thing. I wish we always had more time to spend with everyone. I think that would be amazing and make everyone's experience even better than what it already is.
It's great to hear Story House go above and beyond. I can speak personally on how well they have engaged with People's Choice Group to ensure they have heard the voice of people with a learning disability. Paul used to work in a major supermarket, and he would like to talk of his experience of providing customer service.
For me, when I think about shopping, I think about getting my basket, getting my items and going to the till. But as I worked in retail for 7 years, I began to realise that there's so much more to the experience than that can often be quite stressful for us. There's the noise pollution, there's loud children, there's crowds in peak times. Usually it can be very overbearing, it can become too much. So what I wanted to deliver was an experience where customers could unwind, where they could get the shopping and go home and want to come back. An experience where they could smile and enjoy the time on my till. I wanted to make sure that anyone had access to any help or services that we offered.
So were there any experiences that you have of helping people with disabilities?
I had two regular customers I used to serve. There was a man who was handicapped and there was a blind lady. I used to leave my station to help them around the shop and help them gather their items and to help them have a more positive experience, because when I was sat on the till, I used to see them struggle and no one would leave their workstation to help them. So I wanted to extend my service to these people to make sure they had a bit more of an easier time.
Do you want to talk about your experience of being a customer?
Throughout my life, I've had a mixture of good and bad experiences within customer service. The negatives start off with being rushed and being spoken to impolitely. As I have Asperger's, I make it my goal to push myself into uncomfortable situations to help myself socialise. This has sometimes come back to bite me. I went into a local shop a while ago and I said, "How are you? How's your day going?" The chap didn't really want to talk, so I was met with, "Please just come in, get your items and go." This led to me feeling rather uncomfortable and I felt uneasy. I've not gone back to the shop since. It also gave me a general impression of what to expect when I went into stores, so that made me struggle more. It was quite the barrier to get past. However, with the bad experiences have come the good. I used to go to a local cafe. I used to go for my breakfast, and again, it was an opportunity for me to spread my wings and talk to people who I'd never met to increase my confidence. There was this lovely waitress who I used to talk to each time I went. She used to greet me with a smile, we used to have a small conversation, and I used to go home happy. That to me is what customer service is all about.
You're listening to Disability Focus.
If you know I crawled down the river and went under the rock of a bridge and found a magic gold rock, glossy all the blues. Then your mound is green and grassy, and we explored the wee small mound. I found a giant turquoise and held it in my hand. And put it out to sun and shone it a special way. With the nowhere become fun and tell us what to say. The universe, like turtles, as monsters too. Oh, if you and I crawled down the river and went under the rock of a bridge and found a magic gold rock, glossy all the blues. And put it out to sun and shone it a special way. With the nowhere become fun and tell us what to say. The universe, like turtles, as monsters too. Oh,
And that was Magic Gold Rock by Horror Band. It's great when you have a person to help face to face, like Storyhouse and the supermarket that Paul worked in. However, we spoke to Rick, one of our members, who talks of his experience of when he tried to use an automated help point.
I went to the bus station a couple of weeks ago and I I found it hard to understand how to use this robot, and it wasn't very easy. It was ringing and ringing. I couldn't hear the person on the other end.
And Rick, what was it that frustrated you most about speaking to the robot?
Well, I explained about that because they wasn't very helpful. They just told me to go through lots of channels what I didn't understand. One, to ring the travel information. Two, just to go to the nearest the council offices. Three, to go online to read all the timetable.
So, Rick, would you prefer someone to talk to you face to face?
Yeah, I don't want to do the robot.
You are listening to Disability Focus, a positive look on disability.
So, Mike, do you want to talk about your experience in the taxi?
Yeah. Last December, my carer was unable to pick me up and take me home. So the only option Alison had was to ring a Hackney cab to pick me up from the Blue Coat and take me home. The taxi driver was very good. He even got out of his taxi to put the walker in, and then I got in afterwards. And then he was talking to me on the way home. And then we got to where I live, and then he opened the door with a key safe.
Do you think sometimes that you get into a taxi and they don't necessarily talk to you though? They just
drive, you know. Yeah, they just drive, and you get that's nearly a £5, please.
Would you prefer to get the same driver?
Yes, if I could, but now you can't, again, it depends where the driver is at the time.
You're listening to Disability Focus, a positive voice for disability.
We asked some members of People's Choice Group what their top tips were for people working in customer services.
My top tip for someone working in customer service would be to always wear a smile and be approachable.
Be polite and respectful and helpful and kind.
Always to check if you understand.
Treat everyone like a human being.
Be patient and understanding.
And remember, not every disability is visible. Thank you to all of our guests who have shared both their positive and negative experiences of customer service. I guess what we can take from all of this is the importance of human interaction. And the final track we'll play is I Hope We'd Make Good Friends Again by Stephen Huron.
Hello, my friend, it's so good to see you again. And what do you think we should do to make good friends again? I think we should talk about things we would share. Sometimes all our hopes can sink in despair. So now that we've met, I hope we'd make good friends again. What I find ideal is talking about things beforehand. Or else if we don't, frustrations explode in the end. The reason for that is there's different views. What would life be with the same points of views? So now that we've met, I hope we'd make good friends again. Well, how would you feel in the end after we both talked about it? Let's hope we'll sustain the friendship for sure. Some people make new friends even though it's sometimes hard. But I hope you won't reject me anymore. first. Or else if you do, then this situation gets worse. When I think about you, I sometimes feel blue, although you don't want me to accuse you. So now that we've met, I hope we'd make good friends again. With my honesty, making friends is what I inquire. I still feel addicted to you within my own desire. I do feel ashamed to have caused you some pain, and what can I do to please you again? So now that we've met, I hope we'd make good friends again.
This show was created in partnership with
Just Voluntary Action,
C Communications,
Chester Talking Newspaper,
and People's Choice Campaign Group.